Welcome to a special edition of Santa Barbara Talks with Josh Molina. It's such a pleasure today to be here with three individuals who are so knowledgeable, experts in their fields, and we're going to be talking about the proposed Community Benefit Improvement District and what that is and what that means for State Street, downtown Santa Barbara, a couple streets next to State Street, and how this is going to play out for the community, for businesses, and sort of tackle all those important things that we all care about in the future of downtown. I'm here with Peter Lewis, Francois DeJohn, and Trevor Large. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you taking the time to be on the show and talk about this really important topic. Let's dive right in, and I'll leave it up to you who wants to go first, but what is the Community Benefit Improvement District? Somebody can give me an outline, give our audience an outline, and what is it, what will it do, and how is it going to benefit downtown?
Well, I'll jump in on that then. So I helped co-chair this effort when the Chamber and the downtown organization approached several business owners and property owners downtown to see if we couldn't augment what is the current bid downtown of $250,000 that currently is used to supplement services in our commercial district downtown. So, this was something new to me, and as the Chamber and the downtown organization informed me and hired a consultant by the name of City America that sole job is and efforts are to form these around the country, including dozens in California. And so the committee of individuals that are interested in this and property owners was formed, and in the last 2 years we hired City of America to come up with a plan for us. And in that plan represents almost a tenfold increase in budget that the downtown would have to supplement services that over the existing services in downtown. And this primarily is an effort to vastly improve cleanliness and safety downtown and just make it more inviting for all businesses and property owners. So that's essentially what the CBID did. It's comes under a special law that allows these to be formed and allows them to have their own governance. So the property owners will be able to set up a board, nonprofit, that handles this and administrates these efforts to create these supplemental services. So I hope that's helpful, but it's basically a special assessment that is imposed on the very people that are being assessed. So, and it's a 5-year commitment, which is also really nice because it allows us to not have this, limited. It's limited to ensure that we are successful, and if we're not, we abandon it. But at any rate, that's really what the effort is all about.
So these are property owners who would be assessed. These are not businesses. These are the property owners, correct? And so we know that there's a lot of different types of property owners on State Street. Peter, you're one of the most well-known, better, prominent, respected property owners downtown. What are some of the challenges here of this CBID? What is it that you want property owners to know and consider when considering whether to assume there's going to be a vote coming up on this?
Well, so the important part of it is that I think it's really critical that property owners, we all understand there seems to be a general consensus that downtown needs more investment. And so then it really becomes as to how we raise those funds and who's responsible for distributing those funds and how are they used. So the CBID has to receive a majority vote from the people that are being assessed. And the people that are being assessed is all property owners. It's private and public. So the city and the county also have a stake and a vote in this issue. And our current effort is to get petitions signed that are significant enough that allow the city council to bring it to a ballot measure. Mm-hmm. So if we can get 25% of the current property owners to sign on to request the city to bring this to a ballot, at that point, the ballots go out to all property owners, public and private. They vote, and it has to pass with 51% of the ballots turned in. Okay. So we have struggled with getting this out and informing property owners as to the benefits, to the timelines, and what those budgets will be used for, et cetera. So this was part of our effort for the outreach.
Right.
And Josh, as I had mentioned earlier before we got on, I was involved with the Coast Village Road CBID that was successfully passed. And that was not only in my mind, a very successful outcome. We had far more than a majority vote that supported it, but we only had 50 property owners over there that we had to reach out to. So it was a much easier process. Here we have well in excess, obviously, of a couple hundred that are in the district. I'm not sure the exact number, but and we were raising about a $300,000 assessment over on Coast Village Road, and this is about 10 times that. So we're trying to get the word out. We're trying to get the support from the property owners. And it's not just retail owners; it's also office building owners and condo owners that are all in the district around State Street. And I can tell you from firsthand experience over at Coast Village Road, we did it because we wanted to see Coast Village Road, cleaner, safer, better landscaping, better lighting. I was also on the board previous to the CBID, and every year we would have to pass the can to get decoration money for the holidays. And now the CBID being in place, I don't know if any of you visited Coast Village Road during the holidays, but it was fantastic. There were lights up everywhere. They did a tree lighting ceremony. They did caroling. It really was special. And I think when we were doing the CBID over on Coast Village Road, we were all hopeful that it would translate into doing something down on State Street, because frankly, State Street is even more challenged than Coast Village Road. And we've been seeing that as many retailers have left State Street, have actually gone to Coast Village Road, have gone to the Funk Zone, have gone to the public market area, and have left State Street kind of devoid of energy and excitement. And we're truly hoping that the CBID will allow the owners to reinvest in their own area and actually revitalize our downtown core. And if you really think about it very simply, State Street is the spine of our community, okay, from a commercial standpoint. And Paseo Nuevo is the heart of our commercial area. And to be totally candid, both of those are broken. And until we fix that, we're going to struggle downtown. And the city has its hands full with budgets, constraints, and other limits. And all the people down there at the city are good people, and they're trying to do what they can, but they're hampered by their process and their budgets. And getting the CBID passed will allow the owners, frankly, to take a lot of this into their own hands and manage the money and try to get this place jump started and back to the way it used to be. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Josh,
sorry. Go ahead, Trevor. Go ahead. Yes.
I would love to add on to that because obviously I agree with both what Peter and Francois have said. But, I think whether they're accurate or not, there are some public perceptions about the landowners and the property owners on State Street. And I think to a certain extent, you'll hear things like, well, there's all these property owners and they all speak with a different voice, or you may hear, oh, there's absentee landlords, those types of things. I think the CBID is a direct response to that in a way that property owners have and can step up and say, look, we're going to speak with a unified voice about what's going to happen on State Street. And this CBID is an opportunity for us to not only speak to the community, but to the city through one board who can make decisions and help improve the overall community on State Street. And also, I think it addresses some of the public issues or public complaints about the quote unquote absentee landlord issue. I mean, this is people who are deciding to tax themselves to make their community better. And I think it's important to recognize that they are directly putting their own dollars on the line here to help make State Street a better place.
Great, great. Francois, let me ask you, as a commercial real estate broker, obviously, if you walk on State Street, there are many vacant storefronts, and Trevor just mentioned this sort of perception about absentee landlords. So what are some of the real sort of facts about the situation? Do we have vacant storefronts because it's difficult to lease these larger spaces? Is it because we have some property owners who are vacant and or who are absent, and there may not be a financial incentive? Can you just talk a little bit about sort of that true facts of what's happening downtown and what people see if this passes, if this is approved, how this could change much of that?
Yeah, I've never bought into this absentee owner theory. There may be a couple of owners that own buildings free and clear that aren't overly motivated to do things, but I can tell you that people don't like leaving their buildings vacant. Okay, there's an economic reason, there's a perception reason, there's a safety, security reason. You know, when owners leave buildings vacant, Josh, their insurance go up. You know, so I'm not buying that we have an absentee owner issue. The issue we have is State Street is devoid of life in many parts of it. If you go into the 700, 800, and 900 blocks of State Street, and maybe even down to the 400 block, you know, it doesn't feel right, okay? And owners are trying to rent their space. Right now, we have about 14% of our storefronts are vacant. That's been about the same for the last 3 years, okay? I have an owner that owns the former Starbucks building at the corner of De La Guerra and State Street, which used to be probably the best location in State Street. And guess what? We can't rent it. Is it because he doesn't want to rent it? I can assure you that's not the case. He wants to rent it. We're marketing it. We can't get tenants to commit to that space because of the unknown of what's going to happen to the future of State Street. What's going to happen to the mall? What's going to happen with the homeless issue? You know, what's going to happen with the cleanliness issue? You know, so all these things are on retailers' minds. And I can tell you right now, if State Street felt better, retailers would follow, Josh. This is not an absentee owner issue. I don't believe that for a second.
Okay, great. So what are some of the challenges to this? I would imagine there could be some property owners who would say, well, doesn't the Downtown Association already provide these services? The city provides funding. Can you maybe talk a little bit about what's happening now and what additional things would happen if this were to go into effect?
Peter, you want to jump on that one?
Sure. So essentially, the current budget is $250,000, right? That the current bid is supplying the downtown organization, which does some placemaking and marketing and coordination with the city. But so this current CBID district, which is going to go from the 300 block all up to the 1400 block, is and goes over to Anacapa and Chapala. So it's not just State Street, but the budget for that's going to be right around $2 million. So, you know, it's to correct myself, it's 8 times the current budget. Originally, it was a $3 million effort, but we've decided that there wasn't enough support in the funk zone, so the funk zone district was dropped as part of the district. So essentially, The way the law works is that cities have to maintain current services going forward. So the city's budgets can't be reduced just because a CBID is formed. So whatever efforts and money that they are providing for downtown will not be reduced as a result of the formation of a CBID. So we have $2 million of funding, which is 1.75 more than we currently have running through the DO to supplement our efforts downtown. And primarily, most of it's going, about 2/3 of it is going to be for clean and safe efforts. And as Franz pointed out, that is just so critical to the functionality and attraction of a marketplace. Only 14% will or 15% will go to admin on it, and because we'll have to hire an executive director of it that will report to the nonprofit board. So
Yeah,
it's helpful.
to take it a step further, I think it's fair to say that whatever's happening right now is not acceptable. Okay. You can see that by the vacancies. You can see that by the public outcry about trying to make State Street better. And this is like definitely a way to get funding that is not there from the city to get State Street back on track. I mean, if anyone thinks for a second that State Street is better today than it was 10 years or 20 years ago, I'm not sure what they're looking at. It is declined. A lot of retailers have left. I get calls from retailers that want to move to Coast Village Road because they can't stand the State Street issues that they deal with on a day-to-day basis. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. I hate to say that. We've already seen one of our main office tenants, Sonos, leave downtown. That was a heartbreak. I mean, that was a tenant that said they would never leave downtown, Josh, and they did. And until we come to grips with why, and we come to grips with what effect that has on all the retailers around them, you know, we're fooling ourselves, in my opinion. So.
Thank you for saying that. That's, really important to just get out there. What is the assessment? Is it a percentage of square footage of the property you own? Or I don't know how much into the weeds you want to go here, but what would the cost be to an individual property owner if you could simplify it for us?
Yeah, I can hit that pretty quickly. There are 5 factors that go into how that's assessed. There's linear frontage, which is kind of all sides of the parcel. There's square footage of the lot, and then there's square footage of the building. When it comes to residential, that's at a slightly lower rate than the businesses, as well as the public entities that are in the district also are at a slightly lower rate as well. But those are the factors that go into how a specific property is assessed, and each one obviously is individual.
When I hear the three of you talk, sorry, Peter, did you want to say something?
Well, I was just going to elaborate on that. Each property owner received in the mail a breakdown of what they would be assessed and how that computation was made.
Okay, so they know. When I hear the three of you talk, it sounds as though this is a win-win, that this is all a very good thing for the business, for the locals, for the tourists, for anyone downtown. Is it just a matter of public outreach, just making sure the property owners know this is happening, or why would anybody sort of not be for this, I guess, is the question.
Well, I think generally people are suspect of getting more tax, Josh. I mean, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest with each other. So, I mean, who wants to pay more tax? We're already taxed to death in California. However, I will tell you that if we do not make this investment, this is an investment, and it's a good investment. Our State Street will continue to decline, and it'll look the way it does. It's not going to change. And if we all want to make this community better, and we want to have a more vibrant downtown, this is sure one heck of a vehicle to do so.
Okay. And Trevor, just to give you a second to talk, you're sort of representing the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce, and this is also partnership with the downtown organization. The business community is very much behind this, it sounds like. So can you talk a little bit about from the business owner perspective and why this is so important?
Sure. And well, Francois has hit it on the head already. I mean, this is all about creating, I think, a new vitality for State Street that's currently lacking. There are certain things that we, as the business community, can control. What we can't control, for example, is what's going to happen with Paseo Nuevo. That's going to shake out between the city and the property owners there, right? But what we can do is make ourselves more attractive to both locals and those coming from outside our community who are going to be spending time on State Street. Peter talked, Peter talked about the types of things that this CBID is going to be focused on, but I think it's important. He mentioned that 2/3 of the funds are going to be used for sort of clean and safe. That's a mandate. That's required by the enabling paperwork for this CBID. So the business community sees that as a tremendous opportunity to say these are actual funds. It's not some board that's going to come in and make different decisions. I mean, by and large, they are going to be required to spend 2/3 of that $2 million on safety, cleanliness, beautification, and maintenance. We believe as a community that if we do those things and do them well, the community is going to start embracing State Street again. And we're going to see more bodies walking up and down the street. And really that is the number one goal, is just to allow the community to feel comfortable and welcome on State Street. And right now, I don't know that that's the case. And so we, both in the business community, but also, those of us that are involved in the CBID, want to change that conversation, and we want to have control over the process. And I think a lot of the business community feels like maybe they don't have control and things are being left up to the city. And I do think the city's trying to do the right thing, but the wheels of government don't exactly turn quickly. And so this is an opportunity for us to take more control and make changes a little more quickly based on what our own needs are.
Okay. Well, let's go back to Peter as we kind of wrap up here. Peter, what are the next steps? You touched on it at the beginning. So for these property owners who are watching this, for the general public who's interested in what's going to happen here, what is the process? What are the next steps? What's the timeline?
So good question. So as I mentioned earlier, petitions have been out since July, actually, that numerized exactly what the property owner would be assessed, asked for their support to sign the petition to send it in. Currently, we have 20% of those petitions turned in support of forming this. We need to get to 25% support in order to get it to the city council for discussion and hopefully approval to initiate ballots. So we are on a final push to get to our 25% so that we can push this forward to the city council deliberation and a ballot effort. So this month is critical for us. We do have one more public meeting on February 21st. That's at the Community Environmental Hub that recently opened downtown on State Street at 1219 State. And that's going to be 5:30 to 7:30 on the 21st of this month. For any property owners that want to come and ask questions or learn more. So this is our final push to get this thing to our support level that we can get it in front of the city council. And assuming we are successful at that, the city council then put it on their calendar to be discussed and voted. And if they move it forward, then ballots would be actually issued and sent out to all property owners. And at that point, the property owners would either, vote in favor or not and submit their ballots.
And what percentage do you need of that vote to pass?
We need 51% of all ballots submitted.
Okay. And I assume there's timelines here. If you started this at some point and you have a time limit, what's that about?
Well, yeah, there's the time limit starts when the bid is formed, the 5-year time. So right now we have the budgets prepared on the assumption that we would now get this CBID formed for the following tax calendar year. And so the council would have to take up, if we can get to the 25%, they take the matter for consideration to the council itself. They'd have to vote on that and get it moved forward. This spring would be our hope, relatively soon. And then if we get the ballots out, we'd have a couple of months to get those in, based off of we have to follow certain timelines, which I'm not sure I know exactly what those are, but it's going to be a couple of months to get the ballots out and counted and certified it. And if it got approved, then the money is actually raised through the property tax assessments, so it comes through on your tax bills.
Okay.
And Josh, the important deadline is the end of this month. For us getting the ballots submitted from property owners. So if there are property owners out there that are on the fence or need more information, now's the time, because we've got the rest of this month to get this done so we can get it in front of the city council.
Yep.
Okay.
And one last thing too, Josh, that I'd like to mention that to me that Trevor kind of pointed on, that's so important is, in my view, and I think a lot of property owners I've heard say this, the key is that it gives us control of current problems that the city and has made significant improvements downtown. But for instance, any alcove that is private property kind of goes into this diffusion of responsibility. And so if you have somebody that's creating a public nuisance in an alcove, the city's not going to manage that. They leave it up to the property owner.
Hmm.
And one of the great things about a CBID is we'd end up with a board that has responsibility and communication with all these private property owners and the ability to get security in there, get services for the homeless, basically provide a vehicle to facilitate problem solving. And in a holistic approach. Currently, that just does not exist. And that's probably our single biggest problem relative to clean and safe, is there are these little holes all throughout the district that are unmanaged.
Yeah, these alleys, alcoves, these little nooks that, need more attention. So yeah, okay. Well, Peter Lewis, Francois DeJohn, Trevor Large, I really appreciate you taking the time to outline the importance of the CBID and the whole steps. And thanks a lot. Good luck to you all. And I'm sure we'll talk again on this topic.
Thanks.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.